Good morning. Awakened. He, this lesson is for awakened Hebrew Israelites. Think of your mind as paradise, a beautiful universe. Think of your mind as paradise, a beautiful universe that exists within you. Once that is done, segregate your mind. Segregate your mind and let no other thoughts enter your mind other than your own thoughts. Let no other thoughts enter your mind other than your own thoughts. This is how you segregate your mind. And think of your mind as a paradise, a positive paradise, full of beautiful things and beautiful thoughts, all positive. But do not allow the thoughts of others into your personal space. And the only personal space you have in this world is within your mind. That is your personal space. The things in your mind that you allow in your mind must be things that you can prove and verify and that are factual. Because you need to have your faith rooted in the things that you can prove and therefore you know are true. Nothing is yours mentally until you can prove that thing to be true. So if you have come this far and you have awakened, then of course, hopefully, you have proof and verification to substantiate that which you have faith in. Faith that is not rooted in truth. Anyone can come along and pull that plant up. It is faith that is rooted in truth that may lose a few leaves, but the stem will be there and the leaves will regrow. With this being said, the only people that are going to try to destroy your faith are negative people. And this is why you must remove negative people, because they will do what? They will zap your energy. They will zap your energy. When you decide to help a person, it has to be someone that has asked for your help. Help those that ask for your help. If they appear to be equal to you and have the same things that you have, then of course, if they ask for your help, then you can give them advice. If the advice you give them, you receive a negative return, if the advice you give them, you receive a negative return, remember this. You lead people to the spiritual waters, but you don't make them drink. You do not insist that they drink. Once you have led them to the water, your job is done, and it's time for you to move on. Any disagreement they have with you will cause a drain of your positive energy. You don't have to prove anything to anyone that you have proven to yourself. Nothing. Now, if you see someone, of course, if you see someone on the streets that look like they're starving or in need and help, then of course, you can buy them a plate of food. You can give them $1. You can get them a couple bucks. But remember this, you can only help those that you can afford to help. You can only help those that you can afford to help. Do not become an enabler. Do not become an enabler. An enabler is a person who continues to help a person who can help themselves. Be careful, that's not what you want to do. I have a friend. He helped a homeless woman, and I helped him along with helping her. But now he got her on her feet, but now she's becoming dependent upon him. She's becoming dependent upon him, and now what he's doing is enabling her. And by enabling her, I mean when you get a person on their feet, once they begin to walk, your job is done. You are not to be there every time they fall down, you pick them up. Then you are enabling them to be dependent upon you, and they will drain your energy. And the most important thing in the world is that you don't want people to drain your energy. Now I want to get into part 2 of part 2. The reason why you segregate your mind is to avoid negative energy, which will drain your positive energy. You need your negative energy because what you know factually, you can prove, and that you have faith in, increases your spiritual acumen, your spiritual powers, solidifies your spiritual knowledge. It allows you to reach a plateau. And once you reach that plateau, it's like moving into another house. You have to get used to that new plateau. You must actualize it. Know that you deserve to be there because there's always going to be questions. Once you get to a higher plateau, there's always going to be questions. Allow yourself to rest and re-energize and solidify the things that you know so that you can move on. Solidify the faith in the things that you have proven to yourself. And you lock those things mentally into your universe and you don't allow anyone in. What's in there is none of their business. It is between you and God. It is between you and God only. You are not supposed to do what some people do, walk up and down the street praying and putting on a show. The Bible teaches you that you don't do that. Your relationship between God is between you and God, no one else. In closing, I'm going to give you this, and it is not yours until you can logically understand it and prove it to be true. I want you to think about this and prove it to be true. Don't let knowledge become a cliche. If someone hands you something, like I said, your mind, keep it segregated. Whatever someone hands you, sit it on the porch. Study it. If you have to take it inside and study it. And if it is not, if you don't understand it, put it on a shelf in your mind. Think about it. The thing I want to tell you now is that it is said that God is all powerful, all knowing, and everywhere. Now, how can this be possible? How can anything be all knowing, everywhere, and all powerful? How? The only way that anything can be all knowing, all powerful, and everywhere is if you live within the mind of that thing. We live and exist in the mind of God that is logical. If God is all knowing, all powerful, and everywhere, we would have to live in the mind of God. Now, what would correspond to this? What would correspond to this? This would be the only thing that would correspond to this is that we have to think about our minds. Our minds. Can anything exist within our minds that would appear to be real? I had this conversation with a guy, and I told him we exist within the mind of God. And I asked him, have you ever had a dream that seemed real? He told me no. He told me no. Was that a truthful answer? No, it wasn't. See, this is why this is why you keep your mind segregated. And be careful what you put out there. Because you do not want your faith tested. Even though you know what you're saying is right, you don't need the negative energy. Now, to get back, he told me no. I asked him, have you ever had a wet dream? Have you ever had a nightmare where you thought that you were there? He said, yes. Why couldn't he have said that in the first place? The reality of the situation is God is immortal. God is immortal. So God's dreams are of a higher polarity than our dreams. And what I'm calling a dream is meditation. It is said that we live in the mind of God through God's meditation and contemplation. The reality is when we dream, we don't dream in words, we dream in images. But we are mortal beings. So when we wake up, the image is gone. The image is gone. Does this make sense to you? Can you segregate your mind? Can you imagine your mind to be paradise? And that you can close your mind off and not let people enter? Then that means your mind is a real place. But it is a mortal mind. God's mind is immortal. Is this logical to you? If this isn't logical to you, then don't believe it. Don't put anything in your segregated mind that you do not have faith in and that you cannot prove, or at least it must have a logical foundation for you to put it in your mind and leave it on a shelf to contemplate later. In the Bible, it says that Enoch never died. It said that Enoch walked with God. The only way, the only place that Enoch could walk with God would be within the mind of God. It would have to be a connection with his mind and God's mind. But that connection is the realization that you live within the mind of God. I'm going to suggest a book that you may or you may not want to read. The name of the book is The Kybalion, Kybalion. It is not a religious book. It is a book of philosophy. You see, the name of my channel is Spiritual Philosophy. Philosophy is a study of everything. Spirituality is a study of God. But God is the light at the end of the tunnel that we can never reach, that we can never totally understand. We can only understand God by degree, polarity. I'm going to stop here because I don't want to go too far. I gave you a book to read, but you may have other books that you want to read for guidance. Pray and ask God what you should read or what you should do. In fact, you probably don't even have to pray because God knows what you want without you asking. When you pray, say the Lord's Prayer, give thanks and give love to God for what God has done for you. But guess what? You don't have to put it on Facebook. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't put it anywhere. Segregate your mind. Segregate your mind. Segregate your mind. God is not about show and tell. It is about your spiritual evolution. It is about your spiritual evolution. I've noticed on Facebook, there's this spiritual Christianity type something, and it tells people, oh, well, say amen to this, say amen to that. And it's got a white Jesus. And what that site is doing is deluding people. People who know that Jesus is black are tuning into this site. And when you reply to this site and say amen or whatever, then all of a sudden it sends you a message. And what is it trying to do? It's trying to get into your mind. Do these people even know who's putting that out? It's obviously someone that is satanic, because Jesus is not a Neanderthal or a Caucasian. Caucasians are Neanderthals. I will leave a link in which they will tell you that they are Neanderthals and subhumans. As I always say, I'm going to always try to give you proof and verification where I can. With that, have a great day. And I'll probably try to post lesson 3 tomorrow. C'est la vie.